Okay, what I've got here is a bait casting reel made by Abu Garcia. It was produced between 86 and 87. This one is called the 821 Plus. So this is the 821 Plus. A couple features on the reel. It has an anti-reverse switch, a hook set button, and right here underneath a flipping switch, which is, I'll talk about that in a minute, and has a magnetic cast control, and I'll get to this part here in just a second. So a little bit about this reel. So what I did is I collected some of the old reels that were popular in the early 80s, and this particular one was Abu Garcia's 800 series, or this is their 821 series. Okay, so if you're familiar with Abu Garcia, I think some of the earlier ones were the 321 series, and then it went to the 521 series, and then the 821 series, and then there was a 1021 series. This was all within about a span of, I don't know, maybe from early 80s to late 80s, and then they all went over to, they changed over to Black Max and Revo and all that other stuff that you see out now, and the Gold Max editions. So this reel was a very popular reel, and what made it unique was the flipping switch right here. This flipping switch right here allows you to, you can push this, and what'll happen is it'll lock it, it'll momentarily engage and disengage the spool as long as this is held down. So if I have this in the on position, you push this down and you'll see how it returns back up. Okay, and that's what allows you to like flip in heavy cover, because if you do that, then you don't got to fiddle with this handle every time you let line out and then drop your bait. You don't got to sit there to engage the spool every single time. That's what the flipping switch was for. And it's kind of unique because this is starting to become, I think it's becoming popular again. But I don't see too many reels making it still. I mean, I know Quantum still has that function on their reel, on some of their newer ones, and I don't know if Abu Garcia is even adding that feature yet. I mean, because I own a couple MGX series, and I do own some Revos, and it don't have that function, that's for sure. This hook set function right here, I think it's kind of a dying, well, I think it died out. You don't see this too often, at least I haven't. And all it does is when you push this button down, it locks the spool up and the handle, and it prevents it from moving when you're doing a hook set. You hold this down, do your hook set, and it locks everything up, so that way you don't have nothing stripping. I mean, the drag don't even work either. So that's kind of a cool function. And then the anti-reverse is nothing more than it just disengages the anti-reverse, where this reel can go backwards if you wanted to do so. That's all that did. Now, what made this unique was the ability to change spools. Okay, most reels today, they had like these knurled knobs on the end, like Daiwa, and I think Daiwa, Shimano, and some of the earlier Quantum reels had these little knurled knobs on this side, and you would unscrew them, and then you can take the plate off, and then you can slide the spool out and everything, and then switch out the spool. But this was kind of unique. This was the Bayonet System. What this does is you pull on this, you click this up, and it disengages, and then you raise this up, and you drop your spool out. Okay, and that was kind of a really cool function. And then to re-engage it, you close this back up, and there you go. This was pretty unique, and it allowed you to have an extra spool, maybe a couple spools on hand, where you can change your line weight on the fly. And nowadays, some people just rather have another reel on hand with a different line weight. Yeah, that would save a lot of time, but I don't think that was their intent at the time when they designed this. But it's a fairly fast system. I mean, it's not too bad to change, and you can still find the spools on the used market. I got a second one for this one, and it's brand new still, and I haven't even put it on. I haven't even put line on it yet, but I string this up, and if I wanted to change line weights, I could. But I don't know if the 821 and the 1021 spools are interchangeable. I can't remember if they are or not. I thought I had a 1021, but I haven't found one yet. I don't think I own one. I thought I did, but I don't. But this is a really interesting reel, and if you're kind of new to the bait cast reel market, you don't want to spend a whole lot. You can find a used one like this. Like I said, I only spent like 30-40 bucks for this thing used, and it's like almost pristine condition. And it's good for any beginner to learn. And and then if you feel like, okay, well, I really like these, I want to invest a little bit more money on my next one, then you can buy yourself something newer. But like I said, the machining and everything on this for the 80s, it was pretty good. I mean, it ain't nothing like the new ones today. The spools today are all special alloys. I think this is just an aluminum spool. But I mean, and I think the balancing and everything on the spools of today's reels with the new with these new bearings they use, there's just no comparison. I mean, this one it uses a graphite bearing on one side and a regular ball bearing on the other side, and that's how this works. And even the Abu Garcia, the earlier 521 series was very similar to that, and it also had the bayonet detaching. This bayonet system where you can change the spools out and have different line weights. But it's a good system, and I don't know how. I don't know if if any viewers out there have even considered something like this. But it's a really interesting reel. Had a lot of cool features for its time. Back in those days, they were just trying to see who could put the biggest features or the most features on a certain baitcaster. I even got a 2-speed Shimano. If you look at one of my channels, I mean not one of my channels, one of my videos, I have a Shimano 2-speed reel on there. But even Abu Garcia designed a 2-speed reel. I'll explain more about that, and I'll make a video soon about that. But this was really cool. So if you ever get a chance, and you're interested, you can always comb the internet and see if you can find one. I mean, I found this one on eBay of all places, and it was a good buy. But like I said, I don't use them much. I mean, I use my newer ones quite a bit, and the only reason I didn't use these much is because I don't want all these little decals stuff to wear off and everything. I want to keep it as new condition as possible. Because they're kind of more of a collector's thing. It kind of shows how time has changed over the years, and you can see the differences. But I mean, everything from what you see today, kind of stems from these guys right here. I mean, they just improved on it. I mean, the gear system's different. It sits high up. It ain't like the new ones where they put the bigger gear like lower down here, and you see a big old hump down there, to make it sit lower on the reel. That's not this is not that. I mean, it sits a little high. You can see right there for yourself, and that's just the way it is. But other than that, I mean, it's a good reel. They're kind of becoming more rare. I mean, it's all graphite, so the construction of this is just all graphite. I mean, that's kind of like good and bad. I mean, it can still break, but I mean, like I said, they're fairly tough. I mean, the only thing I don't like is the foot down here on the bottom is made out of graphite, and I know I've had one break off. But there's so many parts availability for some of this stuff. Even Abu Garcia, I think you could still call them up, and they still stock some of these parts. So if you ever needed one, I mean, they'll you can get one. But like I said, yeah, these were really, really interesting, and they were kind of like pioneering the way, of the way some of these baitcasters, what you're seeing today. It all kind of came from all these guys, from all these little features and everything, and what anglers wanted. But it's been a good reel to own, and it's really fun to use. But anyways, that's just my 2 cents on this little short video. It's not too long. I got other reels I'll post on here because I don't see too many people doing this kind of stuff. So and I try to do it when I have some time, and I have a perfect time during all this COVID crap going on and everything. So but we'll I'll make some more videos soon. I got some other interesting stuff that I got some other Abu Garcias, and I even got some quantum reels. But quantum's, it's fairly new, and everybody kind of knows that. But some of the older pioneers, man. I mean, Abu Garcia is definitely one of the old ones. Shimano and Daiwa. Daiwa is definitely an older reel. I mean, they've been around forever. And like I said, most of them reels, I mean, they have withstood the test of time. I mean, they've been kicked around in the boat. I mean, they have really been through the rough, and they can take a beating. They're really tough. But anyways, there's my 2 cents on the video, and enjoy.